In this video, we will discuss how bone is mineralized and resorbed. So as for bone mineralization, we'll go over the steps in mineralizing the osteoid seam, which is produced by the osteoblast. And next we'll talk about resorption, which will include how osteoclasts work, as well as how bone is broken down. So in order for bone to be produced, osteoblasts, which are active bone lining cells, must produce and secrete osteoid, which is the pre-mineralized bone. So once the osteoid has been laid down, a few things must occur in order for this pre-mineralized substance to completely become mineralized bone. The first step involves the chondrocytes located within the cartilage surrounding the bone, either in the bone collar or within the matrix if the bone is forming via endochondral bone formation. The chondrocytes normally are producing type 2 collagen as well as proteoglycan aggregates. Once the osteoid has been secreted nearby, these chondrocytes will stop producing these substances and will start producing type 10 collagen and matrix vesicles. Secondly, phosphates and calcium start to increase in concentration within the extracellular matrix surrounding the chondrocytes. The phosphates and calcium form crystals which contribute to the rigid structure of bone. Next, matrix vesicles will collect extracellular phosphate and calcium and form crystals. The mineral crystals held within the matrix vesicles will then be released. These mineral crystals that were released will bind to the type 10 collagen being produced by the chondrocytes. So then, this new aggregate of type 10 collagen and minerals will bind to the type 2 collagen that was originally produced by the chondrocytes. This final product is mineralized bone. The lattice work of minerals in the two types of collagen fibers leave a very rigid mineralized bone. So now that we've talked about how bone is mineralized, we'll now discuss how it's broken down or resorbed. So bone resorption requires the use of osteoclasts. In order for an osteoclast to be stimulated to resorb, it will receive a signal from osteoblasts to do so. So the osteoblast also will receive a signal from the parathyroid hormone that was secreted by the principal or the chief cells of the parathyroid gland. The parathyroid hormone signals the osteoblast to stop producing osteoid seam, and the osteoblast will go on to signal the osteoclast to break down the bone. This is done when low blood calcium levels are detected. So the opposite will occur when calcitonin is secreted from the parafollicular cells of the thyroid gland. So now let's discuss how an osteoclast works. As we went over in previous videos, the osteoclast has 3 compartments, so let's review them in a little bit more detail. The first zone seen here is the basal zone. This area contains ion pumps that will pull chloride into the cell while pushing bicarbonate out of the cell. The bicarbonate is produced as a byproduct of carbonic acid breakdown within the cell. The hydrogen that's produced from this breakdown is pumped out of the osteoclast through the second zone, or the ruffled border, and into the subosteoclastic, or the house ship lacunae, which is located beneath the cell. This increase in hydrogen ions will decrease the pH of the subosteoclastic compartment. Lastly is the third zone, which is the clear zone. This zone of the osteoclast acts to seal off the house ship lacunae from the extracellular matrix, and it does this in order to keep a low pH within the subosteoclastic compartment. So you're probably wondering, why is it so important to keep a low pH in the subosteoclastic compartment? In essence, the bone is susceptible to a low pH and is broken down this way. But in a little bit more detail, the minerals that were once bound to the type 10 and type 2 collagen fibers are removed from their attachments due to the acidic environment produced by the high levels of hydrogen ions. The rest of the bone, which is the organic component, is left to be broken down, and this is done so by the lysosomal cathaspins as well as other enzymes. So in summary, we went over how bone is mineralized by talking about the osteoid being laid down, then mineralized by type 10 and mineral crystals overtaking the matrix. Next, we discussed how bone is resorbed or broken down, and in order to resorb bone, we discussed how an osteoclast worked by reviewing its 3 zones.